Hey, so today we're going to be lighting in the studio a box, actually, not a product or anything, just a box to show how you can get dimension with where you place your lights and how you light something. And I'm just going to show you some different angles, different techniques, the way you can get dimension out of a product. And I'm a firm believer in everything should have some sort of dimension, some contrast, so it's just not flat and ugly looking. And so today, I mean, you can use any type of whatever light you have. I mean, here's a big Octabox, 5 foot. We're not using that today. I mean, you could use, if you've got a hard light and you put a grid on it, that's another way. You know, you can get direction of the light, but today we're just going to use a little 2x3 Profoto softbox that we're going to use. The product's pretty small, the box is pretty small. So we're just going to use this, and I'm going to show you different angles and different ways to light this thing to create dimension, to make the product, whatever you're shooting, look good. And we're just going to use some Profoto B1 lights. I'm not using the strobe. The bigger Pro series with the packs, just so I don't have to deal with cords. I'm not a big fan of cords. Yeah, and then we're just going to tether to Capture One on the computer, shooting with the 5D Mark IV. Not that that really matters, but then we'll take a look at these different ways of putting the light to create the shapes you want to get out of your product. And in the previous video, I talk about the different, the way if something's a specular object, a matte object, or a textured object. That's all important too, but today the box is just super flat, so it'll be easy to show you the direction and where the light's placed and how we get the shapes and kind of things I want. So let's get to shooting this thing and getting the lights in position, and we'll get the studio dark. So maybe we'll get the studio dark. I don't know if it's going to work for filming me and filming the product, but we'll get everything tethered up, camera tethered up to the computer, and let's take some shots. So we got everything set up now. The lights, 2 lights are working on it. Very flat light, which will be our base shot. So we're going to start out with just as flat as you can make this thing. So all 3 sides of the box we're seeing is going to be flat. So let's take our first shot, and you can see out here before we do that the lights, the 2 lights are similar right here. They're both right here, both same distance from the box to keep it nice and flat. So we've got that. So let's do our first shot, and the camera's all connected to Capture One here with Tether Tools cable, which are great cables, work really good to Capture One to the computer, but of course Capture One, great software. So I'll take our first shot, and there it is. So we've got our first shot, nice and flat, all 3 sides looking virtually the same, and we wouldn't really want to do this unless you had some really specific need to not give it any real definition, sides and shape and all that kind of thing. So we got that first base shot done. So now we're going to move the light, use 1 light, and just light 1 side of the box. Just this left side to give it a real dramatic look, and only lighting 1 side. So that's going to be our shot number 2 to look at in lighting this box. So we'll do that now. So eliminate the 1 light over here on the right side, bring the left side light down, and you're going to bring it down low, so you're only lighting just the top, I mean just this left side and not the top of the box. And move it just a little bit more left so you're taking light off the right side of the box. So we've just got 1 side lit now. With 1 light, we have just that 1 side lit, and you could see that, and we'll take the shot, and we've created now really dramatic lighting on this thing. You can barely see the top and the other side, so this would be really dramatic if your product had one side that you needed all the information on and the other side could fall off. This would be a great way to do it. So now we're going to raise this left light up now, and we're going to get on this side and the top, which will then spill a little bit onto this left side, but it's still going to give us just mainly these two sides and the depth from that. So we're going to look at that now. So I'll move the light over and up. So bring it up a bit and then tip it down. Going to tip it down to cover the top of that. Raise it up a little bit higher. So we got that like that. And now we'll take this shot. And now we see we've brought tone into the top of the box and gives it, now we're seeing the three sides start to show up better. Still really dark on this left side, which is kind of cool. And we're keeping tone in the top, which if you were shooting this on white, you'd really want to think about keeping tone in the top of the box so it separates. And if you if we were shooting this on a white background, you'd get a lot of fill anyway on this other side, a lot of bounce light coming off all the white that's everywhere. So when you're lighting a white product on white, you really need to look at your tones, that you're getting good separation from the background. But right now we've got a good shape to the box, and we've got still this dark side over here. So now we're going to bring in the second light, which you could also do with a fill card, but for today we're going to use the second light. We're going to bring in that light back on the right side to add fill to this side, to bring in some light over here to create a little more dimension on that side. So power this back on over here, slide it in like that. And we're going to take the power down on it a bit, like that. And now we see that has added the fill back in, and there you go. So now you can still see we've got three distinct tones on everything. The top is a little bit blending in with this. So I think what I would do is raise my light on my fill light up a little higher to catch a little more light on the top of the box, just to separate it a little bit from this side. So we're going to go ahead and do that right now and then take a look at that. So we're just going to raise up this light on the right and then tip it down and maybe move it in just a touch like that. And this, since we're shooting with strobe out here, the video capture I have showing the box, all the sides are kind of blending together right now. But as you can see, when we shoot the strobe, we're getting more, we're getting the definition. Now this top is a little bit brighter, and you'd have to, this is where you need to finesse to get the look you're looking for. We can up the value, up the power on that light on the right to bring in the top a little bit more. So we can try that, or we can move the light around the back of the product just a little bit more on the right and get a little more incident angle coming off of this at a 45 back that way. So we're going to move that light again around the back a touch, like that. So that shows on the video shot of the box right now, that shows we're getting really three distinct tones on the box, where now when we shoot the camera, we dropped this a little down, kept that a little up, so we're creating even more dimension here. So these are just a few of the things you could do to create drama, lighting, depth in this when you're shooting a product. Now we're going to take the front left light, we're going to take it down in value and have it being lit more edge lit from behind, which will give it a whole different kind of feel. So let's go ahead and do that now and take a look at that. So we're going to bring down our front key light in power now too, and we're going to take this light on the right, bring it more from behind and a little bit lower as well. And bring up the value on it just a touch. So we're going to create just a little bit more light coming from behind it now. So that creates a whole different kind of feel. These are blending in just the two front sides a little bit much. So I may take this fill on this side and bring it down just a bit, or I can take this light and wrap it around the front just a little bit more to catch a little bit more on the front edge of the light of the right panel there. So we're going to try that first. So that even creates a different look and feel altogether. So these are just some of the tricks you could do in lighting where you could create the different look and different dimension to whatever object you're shooting. I mean, this could be anything other than like a wine bottle or something, which is going to have its own inherent problems just because it's round and it's going to it sees the world in your studio when you're shooting something like glass bottle, you know, that type of thing. But then you can also get rid of this fill altogether, and we'll do that right now. Get rid of this, take that down. Okay, so now we've got rid of that fill on that left side altogether. So we're going to take a look at how that looks now, which is super dramatic, cool. I like that. That's very nice. So just again, these are just some different ways of lighting. I hope it helps you in how your lighting products, your lighting ideas, just kind of, these are just some basic angles and tools and ideas on how to light a product to make it look, you know, interesting and dimensional and frankly good, as opposed to just blasting it with light just to get light on it. I always try and think of ways to make that product look as good as it possibly can. A lot of times you're shooting stuff that isn't very attractive, but you need to try and make it look attractive. So hopefully this helps, and you know, if you have any questions, just put it in the comments below. And all right, good shooting. Until next time, I'm out.